I just start by saying thank you?
Absolute pleasure.
No, you know why? Because I'm getting to drive what is such. We get to drive the newest, the latest, the greatest.
Right.
Yeah, we're in your pride and joy 1974 Mini. Tell us about this car.
Right, and thank you, because it needs a maintenance run. So I always welcome the opportunity to get it out on the road.
So cool, I love it.
And in what better hands than yours, Maurice?
Oh, geez, thanks. I'll take that compliment too. Tell me about this car.
Okay, it's a 1972 Mini, 1275 GTS motor, 3/4 race cam, twin SUs, modified head.
Someone's done some work.
All the things we did in those days, indeed, yeah.
And how long have you had it?
I've had it since 1974.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how, I mean, we know, Jeff, look, let me just start. For people who don't know who Jeff Osborne is, you've been in the motoring industry for flipping years. You've done it all, seen it all.
Right.
Love for classic cars, been there for a long time.
Absolutely. It's a passion that started when I was a kid, I guess.
Yeah.
With collecting dinky toys, and then my dad was also a bit of a petrol head, so I kind of served my apprenticeship under his cars with a grease gun, which was compulsory. My brothers hated it, I loved it. But yeah, it started a long time ago, indeed.
Try and get somebody to do that on a car today. Sure. I mean, that's the thing. A modern day car, you wouldn't know what to do with. You'd have to plug it into a computer to get work on it.
Correct.
How many classics have you got, and is it something is that the stress reliever for Jeff Osborne?
Yeah, it's been my passion, Maurice. Absolutely. I'm not a golfer.
Good.
So I'm down to 12.
Wow, okay.
And 5 motorcycles. I've kind of got into bikes quite a bit lately,
yeah.
But the passion's still there. I have a nice workshop at home. In the evening I go in there with a glass of wine, tinker around, either polish or tinker, but I find something to do.
Polish the wine or polish the cars?
Polish off the wine.
But Jeff, a new role for you now, obviously heading up things for Gumtree. We know how massive Gumtree is in terms of, globally. People always want to buy and sell things. Now an amazing platform to do that. But in my mind, I think, geez, there must be a concern when you're talking about big value property items like a car.
Yes.
Are you seeing people wanting to sell their cars on Gumtree?
Very much so. It's in fact, Gumtree has 14. It's a horizontal classified online site. Horizontal in the sense that there's 14 categories, of which auto is by far the biggest.
Yeah.
So we have, at any given point in time, in the region of 80,000 cars.
Wow.
Listed on our site, predominantly dealer stock,
okay.
But also a high percentage of genuine private sellers and a plethora of small traders.
Okay.
A number of people trading at home and selling 2 or 3 cars and so on. But it's huge. We have 6.5 million unique visits a month into Gumtree, just South Africa.
That's crazy.
It's owned by eBay, of course. So we have the benefit of the backing.
You've got that backing.
Of the biggest, and dare I say it, the best.
And I was going to say, reputable. I mean, everyone knows Gumtree, but I'd imagine there must be a little bit of concern around when people are trading cars in that way. What advice as Gumtree can you give to somebody who's using your platform, looking to buy or sell a car?
No, absolutely, Maurice. Look, there is risk attaching to classified transacting, whether it's printed or online, because the buyer and seller don't know one another. So there's risk for both.
Yeah.
And we are acutely mindful of that. And on our site, we give a whole list of tips, do's and don'ts, common sense things that often people don't do on how to mitigate the risk. When do you hand the keys over, should you pay? And across the site horizontally, we've actually structured a deal with one of the banks where they have a product called Shepherd, where the money is held in trust and not released until both parties are satisfied. And we're looking continually at ways and means of mitigating that risk.
Okay.
Because it is important to us, both buyer and seller.
Yeah, I suppose, look, I mean, like you said, there's a lot of stuff that's going into dealer stock, so there's peace of mind that comes with it. But for the private guy, private was uncool because of the risk associated.
Yeah.
But it seems like with Gumtree now, there's been a turnaround in terms of people wanting to get a better deal for their car, as long as they're careful.
Yeah, that said, I always advocate, and there's no question about it, if you want more peace of mind and you want to know the banks are going to back and provide finance for the deal, you go to a dealer.
And if there's a problem,
absolutely.
Your comeback footstoots is no longer an issue in terms of that.
Correct. Well, the Consumer Protection Act, which is a great piece of legislation, and it provides protection on a B2C basis. So I always say, Gumtree has this great choice, but if you're going to buy a more expensive vehicle and you want total peace of mind, you go to a dealer. They've got the Consumer Protection Act behind them, they've got recourse, they care about their customers, and their prices are often Very, very, well, not often, they are generally very keen because it's a very tight market, they're very competitive, they want to move metal. And ironically, I often find that private sellers' expectations are too high.
Yeah.
It's
They
interesting.
think their car's worth so much more than it really is.
They've got to settle what they owe on it.
Yeah. But Jeff, I imagine, I mean, you're talking about how many people are coming onto your site. You must be able to pull some really interesting data in terms of motor trends. I mean, we hear motor manufacturers talking about SUVs are the way to go. Are you seeing that? For you, who's been in the industry for a long time, where do you see the biggest shift
Well,
in motoring?
That's a good point. For years, Maurice, and it's driven by affordability, let's be frank. And by the way, the bank decline rate on credit application at the moment is around about 70-80%. So people are the consumers are under huge pressure. So they've been driven by affordability, and there's been a migration over the last 5 years or so towards where new cars are concerned, cheaper and more entry-level type vehicles that have got all the specs and bells and whistles. But more recently, certainly in the last 3 years, there's been a massive move from new to used. So much so that the ratio was grown by 300%. It used to be 1-to-1, it's now about 3-to-1 used to new. Because there's great value in used, and the person can adhere to the spec that they were accustomed to and would like to still own.
But now, is there, I mean, are we going to see it? I know it's happened before, where we're actually seeing the values of second-hand cars actually increasing.
They have. It's driven by supply and demand. And at the moment, in fact, there's quite an acute shortage of good used stock, especially sort of the middle-end, more recent, lower model, lower mileage vehicles that come with warranty and so on. And the dealers are scrambling to get good stock. It's a bit of a challenge right now.
What is exciting though is you guys have partnered with a really cool event. I mean, Rallycross is massive globally. South Africans haven't got to taste it firsthand. Coming to Cape Town, key for Gumtree to be linked to that. What was the decision behind that, to sponsor something like that?
Yeah, no, very exciting for us, Marius. We did a few years ago. We sponsored the classic historic motor car racing, but we just felt this time around we wanted to really show our commitment to our positioning within this industry as an autos aggregator for buyers and sellers. So our commitment is putting something back to buyers and sellers. We're all petrol heads. This is an international event, as you know. One of the first to come to South Africa, so it's terribly exciting.
Sure,
expecting a huge crowd, and it's going to be an amazing event down in Killarney, Cape Town. So we're very proud and humbled to be part of it, and it's our investment in our buyers and our sellers.
That's very cool. In terms of, you literally can buy and sell anything on Gumtree. You, who's a lover of classic cars, is there a market for that on your platform?
Yes.
Or is that within closely confined groups of people who know?
It is a limited market with classic cars, but being the petrol head and collector that I am, took me a little while to persuade eBay Gumtree to introduce it, but very happy to share with you that we've now got a dedicated classic car section within Gumtree.
That's awesome, eh?
And I was looking at it yesterday, there's about 900 cars on there.
Incredible, eh?
Yeah.
And looking at the classic cars, I mean, I suppose if you knew what was going to be a future classic, I mean, everyone would be shopping and going for that. But for you, what excites you? What's your favorite car that you've ever owned? What's your standout classic?
Well, I've predominantly, for whatever reason, stuck to British, the oil leakers. And my favourite is probably my 1966 Jaguar S-Type.
Wow.
But I've owned Bentleys and Rollses and a few Americans as well. I've had a couple of Corvettes and whatever. But my all-time favourite, I love this car, but the 66 S-Type Jag, for me, was such an amazing car. It still is. In fact, I've got one. Way ahead of its time. Electric overdrive. It was at a time in the mid-60s when the Brits were well ahead of their game. Somehow lost the plot along the way, but they've regained it. I mean,
they're coming back. You look at the latest Jaguar product that's coming out.
The Jaguar brand is at an all-time high globally, apparently.
Yeah, it is. But it's, I mean, as the owner of a classic, what I like with you, I mean, for you are passionate about cars. So these are not cars that can sit. They're cars that need to be driven. I mean, you're letting me drive your Mini.
Right.
It's a different type of guy that's buying. You're not necessarily buying for investment. You're buying for pleasure as well.
Yes. No, that's correct. I mean, you hear of, and I've seen some collections here and around the world, phenomenal, where they've got hundreds of cars. And I often think, well, what these cars stand? They're going to deteriorate. I've won concourse occasionally with my Jag and my Daimler. A few prizes in the Rolls Club as well, but I drive them. They're not concourse per se.
Yeah.
They're drivable, I keep them maintained, but no point in putting a mirror underneath if you're going to get a bit of oil leaking on the mirror. No reflection on me.
No reflection on you, that's just the car. But listen, Jeff, I mean, we 10 minutes, flipping flies by when we're sitting and talking cars. This has been a real treat to drive in something like this. I don't get this opportunity anymore. Engaging. I mean, there's no ways you can not be involved in this drive. I think your wife's got a new Mini.
She has indeed.
Do you like it?
New Coupe, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, okay, it's a BMW out of BMW stable, but it still looks like a Mini, and it handles far better than this one does. But I mean, it's a 2-litre turbocharged. It's unbelievable. I love driving it. Paddle shift, triptonic.
But let's be honest, you can also kind of doze off driving it. You can pull your phone out and do all the things you shouldn't be driving. Not in this baby.
No, it keeps you wide awake.
100% engaged. Jeff, years and years in the business. So glad to see you still progressive, pushing boundaries, doing new things with Gumtree. And congratulations. Looking forward to the Rallycross. I think it's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks, Maurice. And I guess I have the benefit of having youth on my side, or as my wife said, youth at my side.
Yeah, of course you did. Can we enter this car?
Absolutely.
This is actually fun.
It could be a lot of fun.
A little drive down to Cape Town, turn into a whole road trip.
A lot of fun.
Jeff, listen, thanks. I appreciate the trust in letting me drive your baby. Very cool.
Thanks so much, Maurice. Thank you.